When even with my family, you know, I've struggled with it. I mean, my dad and my mom, I and my grandmother, for all people, like she's very religious. She comes from Mississippi. She was one of the last kids in her family who left the plantation. And coming out to her, it was jaw dropping because I didn't know it was going to be that way. And I came out to her when I was really young, but I didn't know it was going to go that route. I thought it was going to be like, you know, you got to go to, you're going to have to get some counseling. You're going to have to do this and this and that. And her reasoning was like, well, God made you the way you are. And the thing is, gay people make more money. So, so, so I don't know if she was like proud of it or like, I don't know what it was. And my father is a ex football player, ex professional bodybuilder, big guy. I was scared to tell him, and literally he was cool with it. I mean, he kind of treated me differently, not in the not in really a negative sense, but more like I was now his. I was now somebody even more he had to protect because he knew not only did he know that people would take advantage of me, but he also knew that me being black and then also me being of the non-hetero, I'm gonna be attacked twice, is what he said.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to protect you more, but I don't. He said I don't judge you. I don't care. I mean, Nico, I went to college. I mean, I played for the 49ers. I mean, I've been all around the world. I've seen it all. I've done most, but you know, I ain't did that shit. But I'm not gonna judge you. Still my son. I still love you. And then my mom is also a Baptist, and you know, even with her it was different. So I think there's a curse that is being lifted with the black community. It is going slow, but I mean, I can't sit up here and say that everybody has the same experience. I know damn well we do not. I was just lucky enough to have that type of experience. Now, you know, my only fear is just everybody else when me getting the job or things like that. But I think my family comes first, so I really don't. I mean, I see the struggle. I know the struggle, but at the end of the day, my family loves me. So I mean, I have to take it like that. But I know for a fact. I mean, we get beat up all the time for no reason, for no apparent reason, for just existing in the black community. But yet we're pro black.
I think Nico, there's two things I think, but I think this is one of them. I think there's a lot of people, obviously a lot of people in the community that are the word, call them DL, and I think they are envious of the people that are able to be confident and willing to accept who they are and be proud of it. And they don't have that courage to do so because they're not willing to lose potential relationships, friendships, family, and community due to choosing this path that they want to go on, that they really want, but they're scared to accept it and take it. And that goes for black men, black women. It goes for both.
Yeah, I also I kind of come across this when it comes down to homophobia, right? When we just for me studying these conversations and studying the whole entire aspect of homophobia, does it really come from the fact that you're insecure about yourself with another man being who he is or who they are? Or is it the fact that you're worried and concerned that this man will have the same exact disgusting thoughts that you have for a woman? And that's why I'm kind of I'm like really in between that because it just seems like more of fear of someone else
It might,
thinking of them. I'm
Nico.
sorry. Go ahead.
I think it's also that too, because this is what I noticed. This is what I noticed. But let's say, for example, a man was put in a position where he was forced upon by another man. Let's say a setting of prison, right?
Yeah.
And men that go through that situation, compared to women, they're actually a lot more afraid to come out and be honest about that situation and confront it. They will bury it down because they feel like their manhood has been stripped away from them. When that's not the reality. Your manhood isn't gone. You was in an effed up situation, but you're not any less a man or any less a woman in the situation. You're not less of anything. You know that should not happen to you, but you're not less of anything. But that's how they feel with this type of stuff, and I think that's also I don't know because I have a weird feeling that people associate people that are gay with like people that do bad stuff like that. I have that feeling because it's like just because someone's gay doesn't mean they're automatically attracted to you.
Yeah, but that's what they think, K Dot.
Yeah, yeah,
They think because they can sit up here and be holding around and literally mess around with anything that walks, they automatically think gay non hetero men are going to think or try to do the same thing that they want to do somebody else that's just walking down the street. They think we're going to do the same thing to them, and that is not the case. I don't understand how many times I have to get this into like a lot of people's head is that some people have standards and to sit up here and say and I never had a problem when it comes down to dating life or having smeckles with somebody. I've never had a problem with that. But I mean I can't wrap my head around some people who do have a problem with that when we look at it, the number one people who get the most smeckles are men.
yep. I
So
can agree.
I don't understand this mindset. If it's not the fact that you just don't understand, or is it the fact that you are just so obsessed by sexualizing every single gay person that you see because you have disgusting thoughts about every person that you see?
And there's one thing I do want to add in to bounce off of that, and I would say this now: if I'm not saying that a lot do this, but now men know what it feels like to be the woman in a scenario where a man is constantly like pursuing her, and if she's not really comfortable with this guy or does not or isn't interested, they keep pursuing. They make her very uncomfortable, and then you get her in a phase where she's like, all right, I'm gonna give him a chance. He kept hounding me about it, but I'm gonna just give him a chance. And it's like now you know how a lot of women feel because a lot of men put them in that position. But I'm not saying gay men do that. I'm just saying now you can understand what it's like to be on that receiving end of the situation. But also, me personally, I'll take it as a compliment if a gay man told me, I looked attractive. Like I ain't bothered because a lot of gay men, I ain't gonna lie, have a lot of standards. A lot of standards. They you gotta come correct. You gotta come correct. You can't just come sloppy. That's all I'll say. You can't come sloppy. You need to come correct for the most part.
Yeah, and just to jump in too, like I don't know, like I guess I don't know a lot about the pro-black movement. I'm not sure, but like if it's anything in the black community specifically, it has a lot to do with religion and Christianity specifically, because most black people in America and really in the diaspora subscribe to some type of form of Christianity or Abrahamic religion in general, whether it's Christianity or Islam, and those things push homophobic ideologies and a lot of and even in people like black people who aren't that religious in that way,
Shut up,
they
nigger.
dang they be like they'd be like, oh, like that's something that the white man brung to us or whatever. Like people from Africa, I've talked to people from Africa who say that, or even people in the Caribbean, because they had the thing where it was called like butt breaking and stuff like that. So they feel like, oh, because those things were happening, therefore gay was something that's wrong and demonized and stuff like that. So it's not inherently African, it's not inherently black or anything like that. So they had that pushback, but that's just being ignorant to how things were prior to colonization and slavery. Like, if
Yeah,
you read more of history, that stuff is out there. Like, even in the Bible, like, why did God have to say man shouldn't be with another man in the Bible if it wasn't already happening? Like that, it wouldn't have been a thing.
And that's why I can't really pinpoint where the origin of the relationship started of two men getting together or two women, but at the end of the day, pretty much all cultures was kind of practicing it or doing it in some way. I mean, look at Spartans. Spartans were literally hooking up, and they were encouraged to get a companion to strengthen their bonds when they go out to fight in these battles and stuff. You know,
Them Berg bunnies, baby. Them Berg bunnies.
right? So it's like this stuff has always been around, and the black people that do try to make it like, oh, this the thing, the white man, like there was gay people in Africa. It's really nothing new. The only difference is compared to now, it was it was shunned a lot more. So you didn't have a lot of them being vocal about it. They couldn't be vocal about it. They would be their lives would be taken away if they was vocal about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just because of more visibility and protection under the law, and in a lot of different places around the country, not everywhere, but a lot of more places, more states are having laws put in place to protect people within that community. So I think it's just a reaction by religious people, religious black people in general, like against that type of community because they're like, oh, this wasn't around when I was growing up and blah blah blah. It's
It
like,
was.
nah, it was. It's just that you guys demonized it, and there wasn't any repercussions for you taking action towards somebody if they came out, like if they said something about it. Like you can literally like beat them up, jump them, unalive them, and it'll just be like within the community. It's similar to like other harmful acts that black people did to other black people and black children, and was like, oh, we're just gonna keep it in the family. Oh, we're just gonna keep it in our neighborhood. We're just gonna keep it in our town. This is just our business, and we're gonna deal with it. Like, but it's always been around. It's always been there. It's just now that people can be more open about it, and you have to accept it because if you do something, you gonna go to jail just as much as any other time if you hit a woman or freaking shoot hit dogs and shit. You know, it's gonna be some white person that's gonna call the police on you. Like that's just what it is.
Well, let me ask you this: why, when you see on videos, why when you see hate crimes like this, why is it always one of us and a whole entire group of other people beating on us or trying to unalive us? We are that scary to you that you have to have 20 people on someone who you call soft, someone who you call I'm not gonna say it, but someone who you call like weaker than you. So you're gonna go and group on a group of people that is literally that you claim is beneath you and weaker than you. That makes no sense.
A lot of that was taught too, and I was just gonna say, in our community, like a lot of our black fathers from the older generation, I feel that they produce DL men, and it's very hard to be a black GAY man, especially in the South, is very, very hard because you're supposed to, as a black man, you're supposed to be this king, this warrior. You're supposed to represent anything that seems different or feminine. You got in trouble for it. There was a movie by Little Richard. It was very sad to me. I would never watch that again. How his father treated him, and he was on this interview. This was like over 20 something years ago. And he was talking about how his father called him the F word. Oh, you're not a man. I'm so ashamed to have a son like you. It's really, really hard. And, I think now it's still hard, but it's a little different because this generation is changing. I think it's more tolerated really than being
Accepted.
accepted. You know what I'm saying? Because even because I'm part of that community, and I'm gonna make this short because I know other people, want to say something. Um, my father, he's from the South. He's no longer here. My father was like one of those tough men. There was nothing soft about my father. I never even see my father cry, and he pretty much let me be who I was. There were times where he would kind of critique me. Like I remember this This one afternoon, I never forget it, because my grandmother, which was his mom, she was she was more vocal about it than he was. He kind of went along with it or whatever, but he never pushed me. Because you know how some of these fathers, they push their sons to play football, and it's like a reflection of them, like a mini me. My dad didn't really treat me like that, but I remember one time he was telling me like, "Oh, you don't need to talk like that. You don't need to walk like that." But then he stopped. He never continued it. But my grandmother, she's no longer here, but she had an issue with that. She said he need to go out and be around more boys. He needs to go out and play football. And my dad was like, "Yeah, that's right, but he never pushed it. Now, my mom, she was somewhat vocal about it, but she's totally like against the lifestyle. And I hate to say this, and it kind of has me sad a little bit, but me and my mom, we have a distant relationship. I only talk to her like really like once a week, because I feel like she's not open minded. And by her being so religious, she's not relatable. She's just totally against it. I remember she told me one time, she was like, "Well, that's a sin. God made a man to be with a woman, not no man to be with a man. It's sad that you like that. And I feel like she's one of the reasons why it's kind of hard for me to not really be myself, but just live my life. And I can't let that hold me back. But she's kind of like part of the reason for that. Now, my aunt, which is her sister, she was very vocal about it, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so distant from my family, both sides. And then when you're feminine, it's even worse, because now it's like, oh, it's okay to be like that, but as long as you're not feminine. If you're masculine, like, that's like, dang, I hate, you can't get no girl. But at least you don't act like no SISSY. So, it's really bad in our community. And me and my best friend had a conversation about this a week ago. She was like, "Well, the Caucasians are like that too." I said, "Yeah, but I'm from the black community. So to me, I've experienced hate from them. I never really experienced hate from a Caucasian person. It was always from someone from my community. I've been attacked before, twice in one day. uh Someone tried to like rob me, like try to take something from me. I had about 4 or 5 boys chase me one time with bricks and sticks, and I still to this day get flashbacks about that. I still like it haunts me at times, where I'm afraid to go out in public or whatever. It's scary. It's a very scary thing. And what really bothers me the most, I hear people say, "Well, we got to have the fathers in the home. We need them daddies in the home." My father was in the home with me. I had two parents. My father was there, and I'm still the same person. I don't know why they think if you have a dad in the house, it's gonna change you. It's been dads in a lot of in their kids' lives, and some of them turn out to be, gay. Some of them don't. It doesn't matter about that. It's all about the individual. They're finding themselves and being who they are. They just feel that you got to have a dad in the home. That's going to change things. And when I also hear things like that, I feel like it's
And,
abusive.
and, and Jay, real quick, just an example. People think, for example, and they say it's a lot about women now. Women that like to sleep around a lot. Oh, she clearly didn't have a father in the home, but there's a lot of women that sleep around a lot that got fathers in their home that grew up with fathers. So it's like, it doesn't really make a difference. That
Yeah, I think with women,
not.
it's like they don't be hard on women being like that. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for a woman to be like that. Not saying everybody thinks it's okay, but for the most part, they don't care about a woman being I know I can't say what I want to say on here, but you get where I'm
Say
going.
three oh
Promiscuous.
four. Promiscuous 304, use little stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's not easy. That's why, and one thing, this creator, her name is Michaela. She said something that made so much sense. She said, if you're gonna be a parent, no, she said if you're gonna be a homophobic parent, you shouldn't have children, and I believe that. I find that to be true. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
it it's very unfortunate that you had to grow up in that experience, especially dealing with your parents, your mom, your and your aunt, your grand. Like that's I couldn't
Yeah,
uh,
it
I
was
couldn't
it was
imagine
it was
that. But
rough.
that sounds rough. It sounds very traumatizing and
It
unfortunate.
it
But
was it
those
was.
same type of people, just to bring it back to the topic a little bit, those same type of people, for the most part, not your parents specifically, but people who treat their kids and other people like that will be the same type of people who say, I'm pro-black or I'm for black people, but yet you're not really for black people because this black person is part of this community. And just because they're part of this or they identify as that, therefore now you don't support this person, even though this person is still a black person. There's black gay people, there's black lesbians, there's black trans people, there's black people who are non-binary who don't identify either way. Like, and there's so many other things that people who claim to be pro-black and for the community just will ostracize a whole black person just to be in the in group or whatever, and really they're just fitting patriarchal standards. Like you're trying to fit into a standard that was set by a system that's not even for you, that originally said you're not even a person, you're not even a human being, you do not
Exactly.
exist, you are an animal, you're cattle. Like that's how it started. So I don't even understand like what pro black is for real, because that's what I always hear. But then they got all these freaking requirements in order to be a black person. You can't just be who you are. You can't just be how you were born. You have to be how they want you to be. Like, nah, I ain't with that shit.
That's
Captain
that's
Captain
why
has
I think Wade. Well, we and Wade we had the conversation. I think with Nappy, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
it was like there's levels to being pro black. There's so much. Everyone has their own different idea in the black community. Candace Owens is pro black in her own way, shape, or form. Um, Kamala Harris is pro black in her own way, shape, or form. Like it's not a consistent. There's no consistency to what it means to be pro black. Like it's just different for each black person. At least we can come to a conclusion on a lot of stuff as pro black people, but we don't have like clear rules and criteria of what it means to be pro black.
Captain hasn't spoken yet. Captain or Clapton.
Clapton, Clapton. What's going on, guys? Yeah, I was gonna. Somebody brought up the patriarchy earlier, and that's kind of what the prompt brings up in my head is that like it's pretty much the patriarchy. Like I feel as though like everything that becomes like we regress femininity and it's internalized. So like when men want to act feminine, like people are homophobic because they feel like they're not humans anymore. They dehumanize, like women have been dehumanized and not put on the same pedestal as men. So when men act in behaviors that we associate with women or feminine, they become less than human. And that's a part of the patriarchy that I feel. And I feel like black people have no problem adopting the same kind of structures that white people have set out for us, but blackface on it. And K. Dot brought up Candace Owens, and that's kind of related to that.
Let me ask you a question real quick, we're just having a conversation. I hope you don't think this comes out of pocket. Um, why do you think that it's only and you probably don't, and I'm just saying this, but and I actually word it differently. Do you think it's only non-hetero people who are feminine? Because I've met a lot of hetero men who are feminine, but they're hetero.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too, definitely.
Okay,
People
because
would say
I met a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of men out there who even my gaydar broke. Like I was like, wait a minute, is this thing on? Because I could not tell.
yeah, like people like Will I Am. Like I know people personally in my life that are very feminine, but they like women. So I don't really associate feminine like a man behaving in a
And,
feminine way with their sexuality. I think
and
that's
and I'm glad you said that too. That you don't necessarily associate that, because I honestly don't even necessarily believe in that whole masculine energy or feminine and all that. I think those are just terms, just like
yeah.
how woman and man is. I think humans are humans. I don't think we are binary. I
Yep.
don't think it's a man thing or a woman thing. I don't think it's a binary spectrum. I think we all just got placed into a box to fit the patriarchal system, to fit the systems that we're under, and to suppress so many different people. But originally, I feel like people were just walking how they walk. You know, like you just do how you do. It's just that they added labels and added certain things to, well, this is what we want women to do and this is what we want men to do, when at one point in time it's just you were born and you either did this or you did that, but you were who you were. I think that all that feminine and masculine, I understand what you're saying though. I'm not taking away what you're saying because, you know, unfortunately that's how we live, that's how people speak, and that's how we're taught. So you got to, you know, kind of move with how you move. But we just all at a certain point got to just take our education a little bit further and even get past those type of um that type of rhetoric in general, you know, like
I
we got to
also
just
I,
get away from
I also noticed like when the trans argument comes up for people, they're like, well, what does it take to be a woman? And you have to be like biologically born this way. But when it comes to what does it take to be a man, there's kind of like a behavior. It's not about you just being a man. It's about how you act or you're stoic or masculine and all this stuff.
Now,
That's
I think that's for women too, though. I think women, there's women out there that'll push back on just the biological part because there's also certain ways you're supposed to act, certain things you're supposed to do, and as a woman, you're not supposed to want to go and work. Let's say stereotypically doing construction, you're not supposed to be want to go work on a car engine and get all oily and greasy. You're supposed to be dainty. You're supposed to want to go pick flowers and go skip and be a cheerleader or something like that. There's girls out there that don't want to be cheerleaders, but they still consider themselves a woman. So like I feel like even with men, like it's the same way for women. It's not just a biology thing. That's just what transphobes say. It's a
oh
turf
yeah, yeah.
talk.
I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing with you. I just think that points out the inconsistency of the whole gender roles and how like it's much more like we're forcing people to be one way, and like in actual practice that people are this way. Like you want to force a man to be masculine even though he's not.
Yeah, because I think what people also miss is that these things are in some senses scientifically proven that we cannot switch, we cannot change our who we are, but yet they would most definitely trust their cars being cut on. They'll most definitely trust the doctors giving them drugs, but they won't trust the science that comes around or the actual common sense that comes around when it comes to us being who we are, which makes no sense, and it goes back again to homophobia. And then I saw that. Did you see that comment in the comment box? K dot, pray and repent. Jesus died for you.
Oh
I
God,
wonder if
here
he.
we
I wonder
go
if
with this.
I wonder if he also died for all the 20 million Africans who Leopold II unalived. I wonder if he also died for the slave Bible to be in existence. That's it's just crazy. I wonder. But anyway, sorry I had to break off character for that.
It's all good. I wanted the same thing too. Shit.
I'm like, man, come on now.
I also didn't ask Jesus to die for me.
Listen, and then on top of that, wait a minute. I came into this world very late. Well, I didn't ask to be here. Like, why you blaming me?
I love when people say they didn't ask to be here because that is so true, and I say this all the time. I always say that we did not ask to come into this world, and some people get offended when you say stuff like that. But I don't care though. But it's true. That's a fact. We didn't. We
And
didn't
you
ask.
know, and the thing is that I am grateful that I'm here. I'm glad the universe chose me to be here. But you keep bringing on sin here, like I done did something 2,000 years ago. I didn't do nothing 2,000 years ago. Stop saying that somebody died for me because they didn't know me 2,000 years ago.
I ain't know that person.
I ain't know him. That wasn't me. But if it was me, I would have traded places. How about that? But y'all can't say that. Y'all would never dare say that.
Hmm. I remember this girl. She was straight. I remember this was like maybe about 20 years ago. We was working together, And she would always talk about, getting a new vehicle and this and that. She said, you know what? I want to get me a truck. I want me like this big, like F-150. No, it was an E-350. I was like, well, you should get it. She was like, yeah, but my mom, she gonna have a problem with it because she was like, because I told her I wanted to get the truck, and my mom was like, you a woman. A woman don't drive no truck. That's a man's vehicle. You supposed to be driving something like a Toyota or a Honda or something like that. You want a big old truck like that? That's for men. You ain't no man, and even at that time, I was like, wow, but it shouldn't matter as long as she's driving something. Why is it that? What is wrong with a woman driving a truck? Some people have an issue with that. They don't think a woman's supposed to be driving trucks and stuff like that. They supposed to be driving like,
That's
just
that that, that
a mid.
Driving a
that's
Prius.
that patriarchy. That's that patriarchal structure saying that, putting people in boxes. I feel that so much because I know I'm a cisgender man. Like that's just what it is. But I don't always have like traditional masculine like wants and stuff like that within society. Like I remember when I was a kid, I wanted an easy bake oven. And back then, like now, I think they come in like blue, pink, and purple. Back then, they only
Mm-hmm.
came like pink or purple.
Not gonna lie, me
And I
too.
remember getting told I couldn't get one because that's for girls. Girls are bakers, and it's like purple and pink, and you're not a girl. And I was like, but I just want to make cookies. Like, what you talking about? Like, this bakes cakes, and I
How
can
old
just
are
do it
you? Heat
on
wave.
my
If you don't
own,
mind me
bro.
asking, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay. So you was born. You the same age as my sister. So you was born in the early '90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
At that
yeah.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, bro, like, what? I'm like, that don't even make sense. Like, I even argued for it. I was like, but I just want to make the cookies. I don't care about the color. Like, the color is irrelevant. Why is we tripping off this color? And it just, and that's part of it. Like, that's the conditioning that society pushes on people. And I also grew up Christian too. So, like, that was
Oh
another
yeah.
part of it. Like
Yeah.
my grandmother is a pastor, my grandfather is a bishop, like I got cousin pastors, I got evangelists and all these other stuff in my family. So like they was
Woo.
heavy on that you gotta be
Oh
this
yeah.
way, you gotta be that way, like don't do this as a boy, you can't do this, you a girl, you can't do that. And I'm like, bruh, like this don't even make sense. You feel
The
me? Like
funny,
so
And
the
they were
the part
harder
go
on
ahead.
about
boys actually than girls. They were more harder on boys though, being
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
the funny
Yeah,
part
and
about
K
what
Dot,
you
that's
was
why wait, real quick, and K Dot, that's why that one day, like Jayla and I was saying that the saying zesty is very problematic because when I was growing up, instead of zesty, they call you sassy or they call you sweet or say you got sugar in your tank. That's just code word for gay. They're being
Yeah.
homophobic. So if you're saying zesty, they just replaced it with zesty now. And they're essentially saying you're being homophobic or you're being, like how Clapton said feminine or you're not being a man for real. Like, so you got to kind of just pay attention to those key words. It just evolved. The word just evolved over time. That's all. But go ahead, Clapton. My bad. I just had to say that.
it's all good. The funny part about you was what you were saying about how things are gendered off is that once you like do the research behind that is like somebody just this was just a marketing tactic to get people to buy specific clothes. Like the color pink being associated with women or the color blue being associated with boys, you can look further back and that wasn't a thing. It was just literally like I think it was Macy's or something that was that created that, and now people just associate that because that's the world we were born into, even though it's not really that far back where men like little boys used to wear dresses because it was easier to change their diapers and things like that, or men wore wigs and stuff like that. And this is kind of related. This is related to how people are looking at like Lil Uzi for being like feminine, and they're calling him gay, and it's like that's not necessarily true. Maybe he's just seeing in front of you.
Clapton. I saw a video get posted on Instagram of Lil Uzi doing the splits at Coachella, right? And he did it 3 times in a row. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, James Brown used to do splits all the time, but James Brown was considered like one of the most hype, like even super masculine men was ever James Brown, and James Brown was wearing super tight clothes and doing the splits and stuff. He was doing it very well. He
Eddie
looked
Murphy,
well
Eddie
doing it.
Murphy, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, and it's like, wait a minute. So Little Uzi is weird for doing it, but James Brown is considered cool and amazing and awesome for doing the same exact thing, doing the splits in tight clothing.
Facts, facts. Even the men used to wear platform shoes, which essentially equate to high heels in today's standards. You feel me? Like, yeah,
And wait a
like
minute, wasn't it more prevalent when it comes down to pimps?
nah. If you see some of them old like Soul Train, look at the Soul Train awards. Like you can see all how the men were dressed back then. If men were dressed like that in today's society, like they'd be ostracized real quick, real fast. Just think of just like what 10 years ago when skinny jeans became a thing and how they was demonizing boys for wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah,
Oh, you got
yeah.
tight pants on, etc., etc. Like it's all like I don't know, man. It's just and it's mainly in the black community. Like
Well, let me ask you something about this. The booty out. The booty is always out. And and these come from people who are homophobic. But your pants your pants are almost to your ankles.
well, that's a in my opinion, that's a whole different thing. That's more of a fad, a cultural thing, and it stems around like
Cultural.
yeah, it's
Prison.
like it's a thug thing, like it's a
Prison.
gangster thing, like because they say, oh, it's because I got my thing, I got my piece in me and it's heavy, so my pants sag because it's
Yeah,
heavy. I ain't
lie.
got no. I'm just saying, certain places in the country, that's just what it is. Like you feel me? Like that was just the thing that people was doing, but I don't know. Maybe some dudes was advertising. I don't know, like but I know for a fact that that was kind of part of it for a high segment.
Well, in my defense, as somebody who used to wear skinny jeans, skinny jeans they were proper, so sometimes you had to like wear them looser with no belt. They'll be
You
sagging.
had, you had to let your area breathe, huh? I know. You had to breathe a little bit. Like, hold on now.
But yeah, that it does stem. I feel like it does stem from prison. So whether people adopt it afterwards, because like in my community we adopted that kids around. I don't do it anymore because I'm about to be 30. But when I was a teenager, some pants I would wear.
What happened? You cut out? Oh, he got muted.
Nah, I stopped talking.
Nah, I just stopped. I muted myself.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I was gonna say
super
about
loud.
that. I was gonna say the whole entire jail thing when it comes down to, especially when it comes down to artists, when it comes down to clotheslining, when it comes down to trends, when it comes down to people who want to be a part of something. And I might be wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, and I've seen when it comes down to black people and the rest of society, right? I think we are still number one is copied when it comes down to like um what the norm is of like trends and society norms and things like that. I feel like black people are the staple. I feel like black women are also one of the staples to try to mimic or be like. But also, a lot of people don't realize most of the stuff that they listen to, most of the stuff that they buy, most of the stuff that they try to emanate, it comes from gay culture. Or there's a gay person, or I'm sorry, there's a non hetero person behind it. And then as soon as they figure out that, oh, that's what it is, they don't like the stuff no more. Or they want to be a part of the fad that wants to throw that stuff away. Which makes no sense. You love this stuff. This is what happened. This is the person that did it. This is the culture that did it. But then all of a sudden you get mad because now you know what that person's sexual orientation is. Which is like I think the most damning thing between both sides, because you didn't do enough research, first of all, to figure out who you wearing, who you listening to, first off, and then second of all, now you're just throwing it away, even though you do like it, but you just don't like the way another person lives their life.
And I was just sitting here thinking when y'all was saying this a little earlier, back in the day, like with James Brown and Prince and stuff like that. And I never really thought about this, but James Brown had the perm and he had like the tight little clothes and the platform shoes. And this was in the 60s. And you would think in the 60s they didn't play that. But if they do it now, it's a problem. That's like I don't know. I just find that kind of strange, though.
Well, the whole thing about what you said about, I forget who it was, but they said about Little Richard, right? Do you know? Like you have to listen to Little Richard's story. The only reason why he came out as like very feminine, the reason why he wore all that makeup is because of the industry, because they didn't want white tea people to like him too much, so they had to feminize him, even though he was already feminine, but he had to be even more feminine because he was so good looking, he was so attractive that these white tea women were liking him.
That makes sense. And I was the one that was talking about Little Richard earlier. I watched his story. It was very sad, especially how his dad treated him. It was disgusting. It was really disgusting.
Like you're not even looking at this. You're not even looking at this. Just look at this person as a human being. Figure out their story. You're not even going to do that. What you're going to go for is, oh, they wearing makeup. First of all, every damn actor wears makeup, McFly. Every damn singer wears makeup, McFly. Like I just don't understand how you categorize or try to put a certain person in a certain area when everybody does the same damn thing.
Yeah. Even the newscasters, the men, they have to wear makeup.
Yes, you have to. You have
Yeah.
to. As an actor, I'm telling you, everybody wears makeup. Ain't no way getting past it. It just is what it is. It's just the industry.
It was and Nico, I had this conversation with Jayla probably twice, 3 times so far, and we was trolling about a little bit, but it was some truth to it. Like for me personally, I like to call stuff for what it is, and also like to be fair about it. If somebody's doing one thing and they're doing the same thing as another person, and it's pretty much lining up to be the damn near the same thing, but they just look very slightly different and may probably see a different gender, and they get treated so differently. Like for example, people with the body counts and stuff. Women are shunned for sleeping around, and men are gassed up for sleeping around. And it's like y'all doing both the same exact thing. Yeah, y'all men and women, you are different, but you're doing the same shit. It's like
Can I add on that kid out real quick? The whole entire concept of that is men are able to sleep around, but women aren't. Well, who in the hell is these men sleeping with then?
Hey, I was gonna say that.
It has to be the women, right? You gloating about how many women you got under your belt, right? So evidently, if that's the case, then women also will probably have the same exact number because you're the one that's trying to court them. You're the one that's going out here sleeping with women to women to women. So most likely, a woman is going to have a body count of some sort, just like the man. Like it makes no sense. You have what you just have the small narrow area of women that everybody can pass around. Then this other area, oh, this is a sacred woman. No, that's between both sides. Men have standards. Women have standards. There are men with only 2 body counts. There are men with 0 body counts. It's the same exact thing with women. There are women who have 0 body counts and some women who has 1,000 body count. But it just doesn't make any sense. If you want to sit up here and gloat as a man that you have all these women behind your belt, well, the next man is going to have it. Well, the next man is going to have it. So definitely women are going to have the same damn number as well. Like I don't understand the whole entire concept of that. And I hear it all the time, but nobody can put 2 and 2 together. But like, wait a minute, well, where are these men having? Who are these? Then who are these women? If you want a woman with a low body count, but you out here with 1,000 body count, where did those women come from?
I would just like to speak for my
Sorry.
community and say that they is not sleeping with us.
I'm sorry.
I said I would just like to speak for my community and say that they not sleeping with us.
Then who are they sleeping with, Jay?
Who you think?
Men?
Obviously.
Well, you better.
I'm not making this up. If you ever had a homeboy and he say, well, I don't know if you have friends like this, but if y'all ever had a homeboy and he say, cooch is cooch, yeah, he'll sleep with anything because he just ready to get active. A lot of men are like that. They ready to get active, but because of the taboo of being, H in our community,
Yeah.
they'll pretend that they not, but whole time they'll sleep with anything because they just want to get off.
And that's what I was just saying, Jayla, that these some of these men are upset at these non-hetero men because because they're non-hetero, because they probably think the same, they probably think that we think the same way as they do, and they scared of it.
But I see like that men will have a woman, a wife, a baby mama, and sleep with men too, which is obviously not a problem to me. But then they don't realize they're breaking two people's hearts. The one that you built a home with kids, and the person that you were involved with, the man too. Like you breaking multiple hearts because if that person is attached to you and you pillow talking with both, they both getting attachments to you. You're hurting essentially more than just your partner. You're hurting multiple people.
But does that have to stem
They'll
back?
be DL and then they'll post their girlfriends in their boyfriend's face. They're hurting both people.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, but doesn't that go back to society norms?
What do you mean by that?
Like a person can't be out in the open because of society, so they have to live within society. They get into society, they get a wife, they get kids, but yet in the back of their mind they've always known that they wanted to be with a man. So now they're gonna go behind the back or be sneaky like DL to be with a man because of society norms.
But just like a woman, just like if he had an extra girlfriend, if you going and posting you with your partner, y'all having gender reveals and baby showers and weddings, and you dealing with me too, yeah, my feelings gonna be hurt, especially if you was pillow talking and telling me this, that, and the third, or I'm gonna leave her, I'm gonna come out, etc. Like you're hurting both people essentially.
Yeah, I think what school is just saying that the reason why that hurt is happening and people have to be put in those positions is because of societal expectations and the roles that we got to play. You know,
But
I think
I
that's
think
all they were
mostly to
saying.
our
I'm not
community
sure
is
though.
like other
Yeah,
communities
that's okay.
other communities come out more frequently than obviously cultural communities, because in cultural communities you're bound to get disowned.
Yeah.
Like there's the rare, mom that accepts her son, or rare parents that accept their daughter, but this is rare, like in our community, to the point where people are just having to lie to themselves. And I say screw them, especially if you don't live with them no more. Screw them. If you do, I get it, fake it till you make it.
Well,
Because
and
if
that's
you like 16 and you want to say something, but you know you're going to get kicked out, don't say nothing. But if you like 23, 25, 30, 40, you obviously, could say something to them. And if they disown you, screw them. Because if they loved you, they wouldn't shun you for being yourself.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a choice.
Yeah.
that's why I see both sides of Miko and Jayla's point, because that is the big reason why we have a lot of DL is because it's not something that's going to be easily accepted, and there's so many risk factors. Just like Jayla said, especially if you're a minor living in someone else's home, and you tell them, "Hey, I'm gay," and then they tell them, "Get the fuck out of my house," and it's like,
Not my child no more. Or especially the T community having to deal with being misgendered by their parents. I had a girl, you're gonna be a girl, and etc. Is like, if you're a minor and you're considering that, even though you're supposed to be taking like therapy and puberty blockers, etc. If it comes down to your safety, like your parents might beat you up or kick you out, don't say nothing. Sadly, you just can't say nothing because it compromises your own safety.
And that sounds really sad.
It is sad as fuck that your kids can't come to you because you don't know how to not be a bigot.
and
But
that's
it's just the reality, and I think that's the only time where people should be trying to hide their truth, is when they're endangered by their truth.
That's why a lot of adult children go no contact or low contact with their parents, and then they feel some type of way when they don't really hear from them or don't hear from them at all because of stuff like that.
I mean, honestly, in our community, a lot of people are, no contact with their parents for just the fact that we know how terrible black parents could be, especially from certain generations.
Oh yeah,
Like it's
like
already
boomers,
so
the
many kids
silent
no contact.
generations, and, Generation X. Oh yeah, definitely, and early millennials.
I mean, I'm no contact. I know one of my sisters ain't talked to my family in like since 2016. She ain't seen us since 2016.
Oh
Damn.
wow.
Which I did get mad about. Hold on, let me light this.
Oh my God, Jayla, we trying to be serious. You over talking about? Let me like this.
Let me like this up real quick. Let me.
Dang, Jayla.
It hurt my feelings because it happened when I was like 17 and I didn't really understand why she would be doing that. We had a great life. I mean, we didn't have a great one, but we had like as far as the other stuff, it was pretty okay. And I was just like, you didn't have to stop talking to me. I mean, I'm not the parents. I don't even know what's going on. And I was just kind of hurt because I felt like she like left me behind. But, eventually I got over it. And now when she reaches out to me, I ignore her because it's like, I understand why you left them. I left them too, but it was no reason for you to not be in contact with me. And then like she sometimes would get in contact with me on Instagram, and now she only hit me up when she want money. And I don't even know you anymore. I haven't seen you in like 7 years.
Oh wow. Were
Like,
you
don't call
guys
me for no
like
money.
raised together differently? Did your parents make a
No, me and
difference?
her were best friends since I was like in kindergarten and she was like 10. Since I was born, she's 5 years older than me. We
Oh
played
wow.
together. We grew up together. We were best friends. We even like out of me and my other siblings, like me and my other sibling, we wouldn't do nothing together, like as far as partying or anything like that. But me and her, we would, smoke together. We were best friends. We talked all the time, hung out 24/7, and then she just was gone. So it's like okay, you
And
could have
she
gave me a
never
heads
told you
up, and I wouldn't have told
why
anybody.
she was distant from you. She never like talked about that with you, like why she was distant from you like
No,
that.
I just straight up told her like I really don't fuck with you because you could have gave me a heads up. I would have never told our parents or anything because she already knows. Bro, I didn't even tell our parents when we were like smoking together or drinking together when I was like 16, 17. Like, why would I tell them this if you're leaving for your own good? But she played it like I was not her friend, like I couldn't be trusted. And then after she left, she didn't get in contact with me until like 2 years later, and she was having a baby. Like, dude, you think I'm cool with you?
Oh wow.
Like that's weird. I feel like you could have gave me a heads up, or you could have like reached out and said, "Hey, I just need time," or
Yeah.
something. Shit, I would have valued if you need time.
That's
But
why.
how we go from best friends to nothing?
That's why, as of now, like I'm trying to do a lot of reconnecting with the media family. Recently, actually last night, yeah, I talked to all my sisters and stuff. We made a group chat with just the three of us and shit, and just mending stuff. Don't want shit to be broken because it's like if shit hits the fan, and we all scattered and mad at each other, and we
Fuck them
don't
people.
need each other, then like we don't need each other.
I ain't reconnected with nobody. I ain't tried
Jayla,
to
I'm
reach
not
out
saying
to.
you. I'm talking about me,
No,
Jayla.
I'm saying like I ain't reconnect with nobody. I don't want to reconnect with nobody. It's like it's sad. Okay, I want my nephews. I want to see my nieces and stuff. But man, fuck that shit. I don't even want to reach out to my granny and granddad. I feel like everybody failed me because I'm the youngest, and like y'all failed me. Y'all treat me like crap, and then now that I'm older, I'm disrespectful because I be calling y'all out. It's like I ain't reconnecting with shit. That you don't need to connect to heal. How about y'all stay away from me and I just figure it out, you know?
Well, we know Jayla doesn't want me to heal. Jayla want me to be.
You can heal without fucking with people that don't fuck with you.
Jayla wants me to continue my toxic masculinity. And I'm trying to.
So K Dot, are you saying that you're trying to reconnect with your siblings, like trying to work things out and be
Oh no, I
close?
mean, no, no, like okay, so my three sisters they f with me, but a lot of other people in the family don't f with them right now. But like they f with me, but I ain't gonna lie, I do miss being around them. Like I talk to them, but I miss like physically being able to see them. Like I miss them. I really do.
You have brothers also?
I got one brother right now. My other brother passed away, but now I got one right now. I'm a lot. I mean, I'm a lot closer with him. I mean, we in the same city, so I can see him anytime I want to. But
So I want to point out the whole entire family thing too. I got a cousin that I really loved when I grew up. I, I I liked her. Her name was Lucille, and she posted something on Facebook about gay people, about like men being feminine. I think it was like some Atlanta boys, and they were like in a group. They were all feminine. They was going out for the night, and she posted a post about it, saying this is where what our society is coming to. Look at these men, blah 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 blah. They want to be women and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you are the one who was advertising it. If it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have seen it. If it wasn't for you, the young kids in our family probably wouldn't have seen it. You are the one who is sexualizing us. It's not. I just can't get over the fact that y'all hate it so much, but yet you advertise it on a damn daily basis.
right. Because if you didn't want something to be promoted, then you wouldn't share it.
Why would you share it?
You know, it's like just just mind your business.
Like it's such a that's why I know that it comes from hate, because anytime that anything has to do with hate, it makes no damn sense at the end of the day. It makes no sense.
Wait, actually, all of my hate is valid.
Okay, Jada, you are. Oh my God.
Like, I hate Taylor Swift, and I think that's pretty valid. And I feel like the internet keeps trying to force me to see this lady, and I fucking hate her.
Wait, did you see that one? Remember that one guy who did that like Nair review, and he just came out with a video
I know who you talking about.
About black.
To forget still.
Yeah, about black women hating on Taylor Swift, but if it's the other way around, then there's going to be a whole entire uproar.
Well, Taylor Swift already hate us. I mean, she literally said she want to go back to the 1800s without the racism. Like, girl, you know that come on, don't play with me right now, Taylor.
I mean, I could. You know what though?
We know Taylor didn't write them lyrics. You know.
Hey, wait a minute, she did not.
She did. Her
You know what?
her contemporary ass always on some weird I miss the past shit. And I feel like any person who constantly miss the past, if they YT, it's because, man, come on, bro. Because if
I agree with
go
Jayla
back
on
to
that
that
one.
same period,
This is
it
all
would
her
be like
boyfriend.
slavery.
Racist.
She's talking about 1830. If we went back to that same period, we would be enslaved and shit. Like we would.
Yeah, that was before the Civil War. Like, come on now.
We would have that like she could have at least said like the 1960s or something, maybe the 70s where we had like a little bit of room. But it's like she chose the 1800s. She's clearly very aware that this is a time of racism and slavery, and she put it in a song.
I mean, Jayla, to be fair, she also does miss her exes too.
Okay, but listen, anybody in her team could have stopped her, and nobody did. Nobody was like, "Hey, Taylor, I don't think you should say that," or she didn't think to herself, "Okay, the songwriter wrote this, but I'm not comfortable with this, so let's try to change this line." She went in there, she recorded this shit, and put that shit out. That is, we know what's up, bro. Also, look at her carbon footprint. All that flying she did just to see somebody she didn't even really end up with, that they capitalized the entire Super Bowl off of. You could get on a plane and get first class like anybody else. You do not need to keep flying your own plane in the air when other planes are simultaneously flying and putting all that carbon into our environment. You're not for the earth. And then on top of that, like,
Jayla, she had to carry her team. She was
I don't give a fuck. I don't fuck with Taylor Swift. I feel like she's overrated, and nothing of her is of value enough to have people acting the way they do.
Well, she's had a lot of heartbreaks with her boyfriend.
Okay, me the fuck too, girl. Get the fuck out of here.
Like you don't understand. Like,
Should have became a city girl. 2020 for the streets. She should have became somebody else.
She should take a page from Cardi B. That's what she should have did.
Yeah, like why would you say that? And you're not dumb. And I feel like people trying to say like, oh, she didn't mean it that way or etc. is the same apologetics that people do for YT people every single time. Because YT people can say stuff like that and get away with it, and that's their privilege. Please stop letting them slide with this shit in our face, bro. They playing in our face.
Wait, white people can get away with that, and then other people can get away with capitalizing on the whole entire argument when it comes down to black folks.
Oh,
like,
of course.
Have you know? Like, you look into this, y'all. Look into this. Have you noticed every single time a video goes viral, when it comes down to something, the first thing they say is black people? Look into it. I promise you, I am not lying. There is always a video.
People be thinking about us randomly. Like, people really get on their phone, open TikTok, press the plus, and record a video, and the first thing they say is, black people be sometimes they be, and you're not even black. Why are you worried about black people? Leave us alone.
Yep.
What did you do? What did you do?